Okay, everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Again, I am Th0m4s575, and this time we have a group of 5, or a quint. So, everyone else want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, it's Richard.
Hi, it's Milt.
Hi, it's Sandy.
Hi, it's Rob.
Now with introductions out of the way, now we can actually get to the bad part of this video, which is us reviewing the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which happens to be one of the worst video game movies ever made. And yet, for some reason, 96% of people in the world like this movie. In any case, this is now our review / explanation on why this movie is so fucking bad. So
we'll start out with the first scene.
Yeah.
You see Bowser's airship coming into the ice. We'll call it Ice Kingdom.
Well, it's a snow-filled kingdom. Well, in any case, it lands, and then a bunch of turtle-looking or turtle-like soldiers come out, which are Koopa Troopas. Later revealed, and then the group's tactician teleports in and introduces the King of the Koopas. And then orders the citizens inside the ice fortress to open the gates or die. So they do just that, and it looks like they are tall, strong beings, but in reality they're just weak blue-colored beings who attack and start throwing snowballs for some reason, which do absolutely nothing.
Yes, one
of the larger snowballs takes out a Koopa Troopa, and of course, the Ice Fortress chief orders the Koopas to surrender, which they don't, and then Bowser destroys the Ice Fortress, and as the Ice Fortress citizens watch in horror, Bowser notices something shining bright, and then goes and walks up towards it, and then it reveals that there's a glowing box with or cube with question marks around it. He breaks it open, and then it reveals a powerful artifact called Superstar. And then he claims that that after a long period of time he finds it, and now no one can stop him with it. So in any case, there are lots of things that are never explained in this. For one thing, what are the Ice Fortress citizens?
They look like penguins.
Anyone else? What do you think?
I actually liked the movie.
Well, you're going off topic there. We're asking what exactly are the Ice Fortress citizens?
Penguins.
Oh,
They're penguins.
The penguin, the penguins.
What about you two? What do you think?
They're perceived to be blue penguins.
Well, what about you?
I don't know what to say.
Well, let me just give your opinion. What do you think the Ice Fortress citizens are?
They look like blue penguins. I think Bob's right. They're blue penguins. Yeah.
So you don't want me to say that, though, do you?
You
can.
But my thing is this.
It's never said in the movie what they are, and on top of that, penguins aren't blue.
True.
But it implies cold.
Well, again, but penguins aren't blue.
Yeah, in real life, penguins aren't blue, but the blue in the movie corresponds to them being cold because they're in an ice world.
I mean, yes, but it's never said what they are.
No, it isn't. But then again, answer me this. Why is it in the video games Bowser shoots balls of fire, and in the movie he shoots a flame of fire?
That is an incredibly good point. How could they fuck up a detail like that? I mean, come on, details are important.
No, they are important.
Yeah, they are.
True, details are important, but you got to remember the movie itself is based off an old 1980s 2D video game.
Well, I mean, yes,
So they did
but
have to update some.
yes, but
It's based off of an old 84 2D.
85, 1985.
85, two-dimensional? Or?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
two-dimensional because
it's
it only goes
it-
left and
I'd
right.
have to see. I'd have to maybe watch the
Which is more
original.
of a 3D.
You'd have to watch.
I liked it. I really liked it, Thomas. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, the beginning, it makes
I liked
sense.
it,
It makes sense.
It was
It makes sense. And then, of
everything,
course,
photography,
and then of
everything.
course,
So good.
the superstar.
Sort of win. I don't know who did it.
Yeah, but see, the next thing you see is what?
His name, but
Okay, so in any case,
it held my interest.
well,
Okay.
okay, well, in any case, the next scene, we cut to a commercial, and that brings us to the introduction of the Mario Brothers.
Yeah, but see, I actually liked that part of the movie because I thought that was entertaining, and it did in fact give a background
Well,
as
I mean,
they where they were from, what they were doing.
Yeah,
and-
they are
and-
from.
and-
They're from Brooklyn, New York.
right. But it gave her.
But again, it's kind of boring, to be honest. Like the
Nah.
the location they're from. Like they couldn't think of another place they could be from. Like they couldn't be from like say Florida, or
California.
or like Washington or something. They just had to go with New York.
Well, the reason for that is
Because
that,
I mean,
wait, there is a reason. Let him finish.
the reason for that is New York is a big center of migrants, and at one time in our country's history, we had a horrendously huge Italian immigration into New York, and they had their own boroughs.
well,
Which just means they had their own Italian neighborhoods in New York.
Like a village inside of a city.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
does being Italian have to do with this?
Well, the Mario brothers are Italian.
What? No, they're not. It's not. No, they're American. I mean, because because think about it. They live in New York, and New York is a part of America, which
Yeah.
means they're American.
Yes.
Duh.
Yes, but New York is a city of immigrants. There are populations from all over the world that live in New York, and that happens to be one of the populations that lives in New York that has immigrated from other countries. And
There
they now
are
live
there are actually 5 boroughs. I learned that when I was at the airport before I went to Italy. There is 5 boroughs in New York, and they have their own little.
All 5
Is
different.
Chinatown considered a borough?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
So they have different neighborhoods from different people that came from different countries, and that's their village within the city from where their country they came. Their countrymen all settled together.
Well, I mean, yeah, but well, in any case, moving on from that commercial, hang on a second.
Entertainment.
Bless you.
Anyways, we see the brothers encounter Mario's former boss, Spike.
Yes.
Spike.
And yeah, they say his
I
name.
gotta watch the movie again. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know all the characters, but I
Well,
thought the movie was
they
good.
said, quoting the movie, Luigi says, "Ah, great, Spike's here," and then Mario says, "Hey, Spike." So that's they said his name twice.
True.
So because you gotta listen carefully.
So you want a little more
Because
elaboration on Spike.
yeah, because you gotta listen carefully when you're watching the movie, because you need to get all the context, like what is happening. How do they know
But
that?
going on to Spike.
Oh
Their-
yeah,
their
yes.
interaction.
In any case, Spike asked that if the brothers got one call ever since they started left him to start their own dumb company.
Right.
And Luigi says they actually have, and it turns out it was their mom, Mia, that called them.
Right.
This is before they're sitting at the dining table, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes,
No,
yes.
no,
This was during the restaurant,
Okay.
and then Spike insults Luigi by calling him an idiot, and then Mario tells him to back off, and then Spike grabs Mario and tells him to get this through his thick skull of his, or something like that. I don't exactly remember, and says that he's a joke and always will be.
Okay, well, but
And then walks out.
And then at that point, they get a phone call for a real customer.
Yes.
And they go off to the real customer's house.
Well, yes, they get inside their van, which breaks down for unknown reasons. And so they run through the entirety of Brooklyn, breaking many laws along the way.
But that was part of the entertainment, is watching them run through an obstacle course to get to their first customer.
Yes, but they broke many laws along the way.
But they didn't get caught, so
They technically did get caught because there are many witnesses that witnessed them.
Yeah, but they didn't. No policeman came and arrested them, so they got away with it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
well,
Hey, you don't get caught by the police.
It's not illegal.
Disclaimer: This doesn't mean you can this doesn't mean you can actually do that in real life. Yeah, just a quick disclaimer: anything you hear here is not intentional. Do not attempt these actions in real life. So in any case, there are many problems with this. For one thing, we never hear much about Spike. Again, he's only a minor character in the movie, but I mean, we don't understand. We never hear why the brothers or why Mario left him in the first place. Like we never hear what happened between them.
Okay, but that's a side story. That's just a part of the background as to where they came from or why they were plumbers in the first place, because they were obviously working for a plumber. Because he's a plumber as well. So they were working for a plumber.
Well, we assume Spike's a plumber.
Well, okay. He's got a plumber thing on his hat.
It says wrecking crew.
Does it?
Yes.
What did it say?
Wrecking crew.
Maybe Mario left him because they were breaking lots of stuff, and Mario wants to fix things instead of break things.
Could be.
Maybe that's it?
Could be a reference to another movie.
That could
run
be.
into a couple of those.
There were a lot of references in the movie.
Well, I mean, yes, but well, you know what? Entertain the audience. What references would you like to point out?
Let's see. Let's see when they are in their meeting with Spike. They are playing a video game, and it's called Jumpman.
Well, I mean, yes, but that wasn't them playing a game. It was another man.
But the Jumpman is a reference to Donkey Kong, because Jumpman is the name of the game in what they call Donkey Kong in Japan.
Yes.
Okay, so based on that, they referenced another video game. Also on the wall, they showed a bunch of pictures of boxers. Those boxers are from the video game Punch-Out.
And how do you know this?
Because I've seen those characters in those video games. So they were referencing other video games in those two things.
Well, I mean that could just be coincidental.
No, they weren't.
Later on in the movie, you have a character that shows up that's a monkey with a necktie.
Well, don't spoil the audience right
I'm
now.
not trying to spoil it.
Well, I mean, yes.
What we're saying is that they have a lot of references to
yeah,
video games in the movie.
in case we forgot to point this out, there are going to be spoilers for this movie. This is kind of late, so sorry about that if you're being spoiled already. But this is only the beginning of the movie, so we're not saying much. So from here on out, there will be major spoilers. So click away if you don't want to get spoiled. We'll wait.
I gotta see the movie again.
Okay. All right. Now we're going on to full spoiler mode from here. This is where things get really, really shitty. So.
Okay, so now the next thing they do is they end up going and trying to fix that house. Don't forget they tried to fix the house. They messed that all up.
Well, they didn't mess that up. It was the dog Francis that did that.
Yes, but do you know that dog is an Easter egg?
Really?
Yes, that dog is the same dog that was in the movie Life About Pets. Identical. Look it up. It's the same dog. So they referenced that
again,
referencing a movie.
Well, again, that could just be another coincidence. Because remember, some characters can look the same. Only some, but some characters can mostly look the same, but there is actually a clear difference between it.
Okay, but after they do that, what happens? They have the big water disaster in.
Yeah, in there, and then this is the part where it doesn't make sense. What once when Francis falls out the window, why did the brothers save him?
Because they didn't want to be responsible for killing the dog.
Well, think about it. Think about it. They could just say the dog was attacking them, and when they charged at him, he fell out the window, and then they could just
But would you want to be, if it's their very first job, would you want to have a bad reputation for letting dogs and animals get killed on your first job? No, so they didn't want that.
That is.
Plus, they pulled the dog out of the toilet like it was a clog and said that was the problem with the plumbing. And then they got to fix everything. And the cost and the blame was on the dog.
And that way, their first job isn't a bad job where they messed up and they get a bad reputation and don't get any more
Well, I think
clients.
they already had a bad reputation from that.
They had no reputation. They were just starting their company.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
That's true. That is true.
But they did guarantee that they don't that they were guaranteed to fix things instead of making it worse.
But see, they also guarantee not to charge a lot. And if you don't, worst last thing you want to do is make a bunch of destruction, run up the costs, and then get a bad reputation because then nobody calls you.
Yeah, that's true. So in any case, so from there we cut to the family scene with
You got a bone in your leg.
Yes, I mean everyone has a bone in their leg.
There was the Jello man.
We're getting off topic. In any case,
They go to the family scene where they're all sitting around the dinner table eating.
yeah. So then Mario's uncles, Tony and Arthur, insult him and laugh at him for making such a bad commercial.
And leaving a perfectly good job that was paying him money. Don't forget they insulted him about that too.
Well, no, that was Mario's father, Mario Senior.
You're right, telling him he shouldn't leave a perfectly good job. But Mario was following his dream of being his own employer and with his brother.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. Mario Senior also said that the worst part is he's dragging his brother down with him as well.
Yes, but remember, it's their dream to have their own business, so they're following their dream.
It was never said that it was Luigi's dream as well. It was only implied that it was just Mario's dream. So maybe Mario dragged Luigi into this as well.
I think Luigi's brother told him no, so I think that Luigi went in with his own on knowing what was going on.
Well, I mean, that's true.
And he said he was happy about it, and he was equally in the commercial when they had the commercial earlier. So
yeah, they did. Yeah,
he
did say that once Mario walked away into his room.
Yeah. See, so that part was there. So then we go from the dinner scene to they're watching TV, and it's the big flood in Brooklyn.
Yeah. See. After Luigi says that their family doesn't know anything about them. Mario says it's not just them. It's just that their whole lives, everyone's been telling them that they can't do certain things, and they're just tired of. And Mario's just tired of feeling small. And then that shows. And then the news shows that a water main burst under New York, or Brooklyn, New York, whatever you want to say. Either works. And so Mario says that it is their destiny to fix them, and then leaves the room dragging Luigi with him as well.
Actually said it's his destiny to save Brooklyn.
Well, yes, that is true.
So they go to save Brooklyn by trying to fix the giant water leak.
The water main.
Yeah.
By yanking a manhole cover off.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
In any case, now we cut to the water main, where it shows it's what's happening. They're trying to fix it, and it turns out they weren't even looking in the right place. So then Mario grabs a crowbar and lifts a manhole cover off and dives in there.
Right.
And then Luigi follows, and then Mario says that, and then Mario points out a pressure valve that they have to get to. So they climb on there, and this is where some problems. There are a few problems with this. For one thing, if the problem was the pressure, why didn't the people notice this sooner?
Because they weren't looking in the right spot. Mario said it himself. They're not looking in the right spot.
Yeah, that is true. In any case, another thing is when Mario and Luigi are climbing on the pipe. How are they not slipping if their clothes and if their clothes are wet and stuff? Because wouldn't that make the friction worse?
If they're strong enough, they can hang on. It just depends on how strong you are.
So then this raises many questions. How strong are the Mario Brothers?
Yeah, but you're getting off the point. The point isn't about how strong they are. It's about they're not wanting to give up. And they're trying to help people.
Well, I mean, yes, but... And then another thing. When Mario turns the valve, why did it break?
Because it was seized under heavy pressure.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And he did turn it to right, which means he was trying to make it tighter.
Which was trying to lower the pressure. But the problem is it was already frozen by the pressure, so it wouldn't, even if he spun it, it wasn't going to do anything.
Oh, so then the pipe breaks, and then the brothers crash through a wall, and then all of a sudden they find an abandoned place that was under Brooklyn. So then they go investigate, and it turns out that no one's been there for
a long time.
Yeah, for years. So then all of a sudden Luigi disappears, and then Mario goes to where the source of the sound might have been, which happens to be a large green tunnel.
Right.
That looked endless.
And then he turns around and he finds Luigi's pipe wrench, and then he gets sucked in with a pipe wrench.
Yeah, the pipe wrench starts going further into the tunnel, and then all of a sudden Mario gets sucked in further into the tunnel as well. And it turns out it wasn't a tunnel; it was actually a gateway to another world.
Right.
And so then, as Mario goes further in, he finds Luigi, and then exclaims to give him his hand, and tells him everything will be all right as long as they're together. But shortly after, they get separated in the gateway, due to the immense force that's being applied on them, because of
right.
So then Luigi goes through a lava-filled pipe, while Mario goes through a clear pipe. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but he ends up in one
kingdom, and one ends up in the other. So both now are in unknown locations. So then once Mario emerges from the pipe, he notices that he's no longer in Brooklyn. I mean that's fairly obvious. So then once he starts investigating, he encounters a mushroom-headed man. Yes. Which freaks him out, because earlier Mario pointed out that his food had mushrooms.
And he doesn't like mushrooms.
Yeah, he hates mushrooms. So then encountering a mushroom-headed man, that would probably be someone worse.
But a talking mushroom-headed man. Let's not forget that. He's talking.
Yeah,
when is the last time you saw a talking mushroom-headed man?
Yeah, that'd be someone's worst nightmare. If someone hated mushrooms, that'd be someone's worst nightmare.
That's true. Then he's in a mushroom kingdom surrounded by mushrooms.
Yeah, so then the mushroom-headed man tells him his name, which is Toad, and then Mario tells his name to him as well, and then asked that if it isn't if the place he's in isn't a dream because the place he's in is probably nothing like isn't anything like his world. So then Toad slaps his arm and then asked him if it hurt. Mario exclaims yes, and then Toad clarifies it's definitely not a dream.
Hey, that was one way of making sure it wasn't a dream, right? Everybody agrees. Everybody's nodding yes.
Well, I mean to be fair, if it was a deep dream and you were feeling pain, that wouldn't that just hurt in your dream and not in real life?
I've never had a dream with any pain in it. I don't think anybody else has.
I mean
I had a dream where my arm hurt and I couldn't move it no matter what I did, and then woke up and I was sound asleep on my arm like that.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, well.
But so you're sleeping on your arm.
Yeah,
but I mean, but generally speaking, if you're sleeping, you don't have pain. Generally,
You don't have pain.
pain in your dreams. Yeah. That's generally not something. So the pain thing was a good indicator that he wasn't not in a dream.
Yeah, but wasn't there another way to just prove that the place he's in wasn't a dream?
There was a quick way to do it. That's why I did it
well,
like that.
I mean a quick way, but Mario does realize he got sucked into a gateway and then emerged in another world. How can that be a dream?
Well, okay.
Because both Mario and Luigi were there until he got separated. So why all of a sudden we would assume that the place he was in was a dream?
Because he had never seen any place that looked like that before. Remember, come on, think about it. If I dropped you into a place and it was all giant mushrooms, come on.
But not only that, but the place he's in is filled with mushrooms. Like and
his worst nightmare
is mushrooms. So why would he? Why would he dream about mushrooms? If he hates mushrooms, why would he dream about mushrooms?
Nightmare. Nightmare.
The only bad dream I always have since I was a little guy is I'm falling off a ladder. Don't ask me why. Just but I'm not afraid of heights. So I don't.
I mean, I'm not scared of heights either. I ain't scared of dying.
Yeah, well, okay, but here's the thing. So now he knows there. He tells Toad that where his brother went, and his brother goes, "Oh no, he's in the." Yeah.
So, anyways, Mario asks Toad the place he's in, and Toad replies that it's the Mushroom Kingdom, and then Mario's disappointed because he says it's a cruel twist of fate since he still hates mushrooms.
It's true though. He hated mushrooms.
I mean to be honest. Who wouldn't hate mushrooms? You
eat them all the time.
I mean, if you eat the wrong one, you're dead. See?
No, that's not a mushroom. That's a toadstool. Something totally different.
That's
ones
right.
that grow outside.
Well, I mean,
toadstools are different than mushrooms.
Okay, I did not know
They
that.
look similar, but they're different.
Yeah. You eat one of those, you're going to have a...
You're going to be dead.
Oh, really?
So here's the thing.
Damn.
So,
remember, he tells his brother, he says where his brother went, and that's when they decide they have to go and get help from the princess.
Yeah, so, because hang on. Mario tells Toad the last place he saw Luigi, and then Toad informs him that the place he's in isn't good because the place he landed in is in the Darklands, which is under the Koopa King Bowser's control.
The evil Bowser. Remember, he said evil Bowser.
Yes, because Toad said he's the most evil creature alive, and then suggests that he needs to get help from the princess, and so they go off and
they run through all kinds of stuff to get to the castle tubes and
well we're not at that point yet.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that they make their little journey, and in the meanwhile they jump over to Luigi.
Yeah, who is stuck in the Darklands, and
everything looks dead, dark. There's lava. Everything's burned. The only creatures he runs to are skeleton creatures, and he takes one out, and they all come after him. So then he runs.
And that's another thing. How can a skeleton put itself back together?
We're talking about characters from a video game. They put themselves together in a video game if you wait long enough when you kill a skeleton.
That's not in the game.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Okay, you're probably thinking of something else.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's a video game, and that's how they built the character.
it's another world, but I mean that's kind of dumb because even if it's another world, a skeleton shouldn't be able to put itself back together. Because I mean, think about it. Because those skeletons were once Koopa Troopas. So then how is it that the skeletons have consciousness?
They're zombie skeletons.
Zombie skeletons.
Yes.
If there were zombies, wouldn't there still be flesh on them?
No, because evidently they must have been put to death by Bowser.
Well, I mean that's true, but what caused the Darklands to become like that?
Bowser and his personality.
I mean that's one possibility.
Think about it. Bowser breathes fire. Everything's burned. That means Bowser lost his temper and cooked everything.
I mean, yeah.
It's true.
The place.
Looks like it's been through a forest fire. There is not a living thing there. It's all dead and burned, right?
I mean, yes. But
and who breathes fire?
Bowser.
And who would be angry and burn everything?
Bowser.
So why would his world not be anything other than destroyed because he loses his temper because he doesn't get his way? Bowser.
Well, and moving on from that, more skeleton Koopa Troopas emerge from the ground and start chasing him for some reason. I mean, I don't know why. Do they have an aggression against other creatures or something?
No. They're going to capture anybody who's not one of Bowser's minions, followers, troops, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to, but I mean they're dead, so why would they want to go after anyone that's not the Koopa Empire?
Because they're in the Koopa Empire and they don't belong there.
I mean, yes, but they're dead, so that
doesn't matter. The point is that they still follow Bowser's commands even though they're half dead.
I mean, yeah, but they seem to be aggressive towards humans.
They're going to be aggressive towards anything that lands in that land that doesn't belong there. Think about it. They were after him. He runs to a castle and gets inside and gets away from him.
It's actually a correction. It's actually a stronghold, not a castle.
But the stronghold is all burned and cooked too.
Yeah.
And then he gets inside and there's more creatures that capture him and take him to Bowser.
A mass tribe suddenly comes up behind Luigi and kill him off screen.
That's right.
So then we cut back to before we continue on, a question. Why would a land in another world be like that?
Because it depends on who's running it and the personality of the person. And the personality reflects that dark land with all the burned stuff and the lava is a reflection of Bowser's true personality.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, but the land would have to repair itself eventually, right?
Not as long as Bowser's around. He can burn anything that's alive. That flame mouth of his.
Bob, what do you think of the Darklands?
It's a representation of good versus evil.
I mean, I suppose that's true, but
that's another good way of looking at it too. That's the Darklands. That's the evil place. That's the bad place.
Anyway, moving on from that, we cut back to the Mushroom Kingdom, where Toad leads Mario to where he's supposed to go, and since Mario's not familiar with the land, he gets into some cocky situations.
Yeah, but eventually he does get to... We don't have to get into the details of how he travels all over the place, but he eventually does get to the princess.
Well, not to the princess, to the castle.
Well, he gets to the castle, and he managed... And Toad...
So they make it to Mushroom Castle,
right?
And they run into mushroom guards who are guarding the place. So then Toad distracts them by attacking them by cooking.
Yes, he does cook for him. He says, "What do you want?" And he's cooking, and Mario gets to the castle.
But why not just attack them? Why distract them?
Because as a rule, he doesn't want to harm anybody in the Mushroom Kingdom because those are still his fellow citizens.
I mean, that's true. They are the same species.
Right. So he doesn't want to harm them. So he just wants to distract them, not harm them.
Well, okay. Well, I guess so. So Mario sneaks into the castle and finds more guards standing around. So then also throws them off. But then the guards soon realize that he's not authorized to be in the castle. So then he's an intruder. So then they alert more guards, and then all the guards in the castle start chasing Mario.
Yes, but eventually he gets to the princess.
Well, yeah, we're not at that part yet.
Yeah,
So cutting to the so cutting to the to the to the main castle room, where an emergency meeting is being held.
Yes, because they know Bowser has already attacked we'll call it the Ice Kingdom.
Well, I mean, it's more like, well, it's not ice. It's more like snow.
Okay, they've already attacked the Snow Kingdom.
Yeah,
they've already been
attacked the
alerted.
snow. Yeah, because they've already destroyed two worlds. They're probably their own world, the Darklands, and then the Snowfilled Kingdom. So then the Mushroom General tells everyone that Bowser has found the superstar and is heading toward their kingdom. And with its power, it'll make him stronger than he already is, and that they will be destroyed. So then one of the council toads asks the princess what they're gonna do, and then the Mushroom Princess tells them that they're going to stop Bowser with the help of the Great Kong army. But it turns out that their king doesn't make alliances, and that the Kongs will never agree. So then all they can do now is hope.
No, because she says, I will go and try to convince him to help us. Remember, she says she's going to go to them, go see the Kong King and ask for help.
Yep. So then Mario finally makes it to the finally arrives near the main castle room, and finds the princess.
He finds the princess. She flips him on his back after he puts out his hand to shake her hand, and then she finally talks to him, realizes they're on the same quest, and that they both need to get help because he knows that his brother is in Bowser's world, and the Bowser is going to attack the Mushroom World, so they both have the same thing: stop Bowser and get his brother.
Well, I mean, their objectives are kind of different because the Mushroom Princess needs to stop Bowser in order to save her kingdom, and Mario needs to find Bowser in order to find his brother.
Yes,
they both have the same target but different objectives.
So you're talking the motivation of each character and what's
Right.
There's also another underlying thing that Bowser expressed to some extent while you're watching.
Well, I mean, we're not.
Wait.
While
What?
you're watching Mario in the interaction, it seems like they're both infatuated with Princess Peach, wanting to make her a girl.
What? Wait.
It was very obvious, especially when he started screaming, "I want to marry her."
Well,
Yeah.
Well, we're not. We're not at that part yet.
Yeah, but we will be soon enough.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that far now. So then we cut to the training course, and the Mushroom Princess demonstrates how the course is supposed to be run. But Mario doesn't seem like he can do that since he's not familiar with the world. And then the Mushroom Princess tells him that he'll be able to do it with the help of the power-ups. So then we get our introduction to the power-ups finally, and hits a nearby power-up box, which reveals a magic mushroom. And since Mario hates mushrooms, he hesitates in trying to eat it for some reason.
Do you think he was eating it to make the Princess Peach happy?
Well, I mean, no, because remember the first time he had to eat it. The first time he gets a magic mushroom, he hesitates in eating it since he still hates mushrooms.
Yes, but when he finds out what power it has, he's willing to eat them, even though he hates mushrooms.
Well, I mean, yes. So then the Mushroom Princess takes the magic mushroom and shoves it down Mario's throat.
Yes, but then he becomes Super Mario.
Yes. Which means that the magic mushrooms, or the mushroom power-ups, they have to be eaten and have to reach your digestive system in order for their powers to take effect.
Okay, but he goes through the course multiple times and he almost finishes it.
Yeah. So then when Mario tries running the course, he loses the power, and the Mushroom Princess informs him that if he gets hit, he'll lose the power. And then Mario has to eat another magic mushroom in order to get its power back. And then ends up in a series of attempts and fails over and over and over again.
Anyways, the point being is he does this multiple times, and at the very end, he almost succeeds after trying it all night long and eating a bunch of mushrooms.
Which he ends up vomiting or hurling up at some point.
Yes, he does, because he's eaten so many of them.
And he still hates mushrooms.
Exactly, but in the end, he almost finishes the course.
But a model piranha plant stops him from clearing it.
Okay, but the point is that they decide that the princess decides they're going to go on their journey to go to the Kong Kingdom.
Jungle Kingdom.
Okay, the Jungle Kingdom. Now, where are we at now? Oh, now at this point, don't they cut over and Bowser is questioning Luigi?
Well, it's the celebration scene when they finally got the superstar. So we cut to that, and everyone is celebrating because now their journey's almost over. Because all they got to do is arrive to the Mushroom Kingdom and take it over.
Yeah, but
So then Bowser makes his announcement and tells them that they finally found the superstar, making him the most powerful Koopa in the world.
and that he has.
Well, he says Tartar. I think it's kind of hard to understand Bowser's voice sometimes because it's kind of distorted.
Okay, but
So in any case, soon enough, he says that they will arrive in the Mushroom Kingdom soon, and this is where things start to get really, really, really shitty. His motivation. He reveals his motivation is that he wants to marry the princess in a fairy tale wedding, I think it was. And then that's when the Koopa Empire stops cheering and start to question his actions.
yes, but let's be honest. He's in love with somebody he's never met, never been on a date with, and never gotten to know with. That's pretty. What do they call it? Basically, they've turned Bowser into a stalker,
or simp if you want to use modern day terms. So in any case, one of the Koopa Troopas says that doesn't the princess hate you? And Bowser says yes, but that's another reason why. Can someone keep going for me? I'm too sick. I'm getting sick just by thinking about this.
That's another reason why he loves Peach, because she hates him, which is really twisted, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And wait, and then when he says, "What if she says no?" he fries him and turns him from a Koopa Troopa to a skeleton Koopa.
Yeah, and then,
so you know where the skeleton Koopas came from, because Bowser fried one and created one right on the spot. Right?
I mean that's kind of messed up. Why would you even kill your own army?
That isn't the point. We know where the other ones came from now.
Oh, I guess it's because maybe they were traitors of the.
No, they just made him mad.
Or maybe they were some of them. Maybe some of them were traitors. We never really know. In any case, now, anyways, Bowser also answers his question, saying that he will power up with the superstar and destroy the Mushroom Kingdom.
If she says no.
Yeah, if she says no, and that's when the Empire starts stupidly cheering again.
Yeah, because they get to destroy something.
That is if the Mushroom Princess says no.
Right. So then we jump to the next scene,
which is the Masked Tribe taking Luigi on their sky ship.
Right, and he goes and Bowser questions him, and Bowser gets
all the
information.
Not at that point yet. We're not at that point.
Okay,
yet.
but
they get on the sky ship, and then Luigi suddenly remembers something from his childhood. He was some kid was knocked over his project. I think this is what I'm getting, and then all of a sudden another kid showed up and protected him.
That was when Luigi and Mario were little.
Well, I mean, we know Luigi was, but I mean they never talked. None of the kids talked during that scene, because we know one of them is Luigi because as it cuts back to the present time, we see the young Luigi go back coming in with the the present Luigi, but we never hear who the other kids are.
Okay, so let's cut from that scene to the next one.
So yeah, I mean there are many questions still unanswered about that.
I still have another question.
Sure.
The simp and Mario seem to be infatuated with Princess Peach.
Well,
Why?
Mario's not into the Mushroom Princess.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
It's a dead giveaway.
No, it's not. Why? Oh, okay. You
Okay,
know
wait
what?
a
It's
minute.
so
wait.
much a verbal action.
Well,
It's the
we're not.
inflection of the character
We're
while
not.
he's
We're not.
interacting with
Okay,
her.
you know what? We'll get to this later. We'll get to this eventually. Okay. So in any case, we cut back to the Mushroom Kingdom, and Mario and the Mushroom Princess set out on their journey, but as one of the Mushroom Kingdom citizens, which turns out the Mushroom Kingdom citizens are actually called Toads, along with Toad, who is also a toad. I know that's confusing, but it'll make sense to those of you who what I do.
Okay.
In any case, the Mushroom Princess says that Mario is not important for some reason. I mean, why say that he's not important? Why not just say he's going to assist the Mushroom Kingdom in helping? That would have been equally effective.
Well, that it would have been equally effective, but clearly they were just trying to show how much of an underdog Mario is.
Ouch.
Well, okay then. So now they go and they're off on their journey, and we jump. Is this when we jump to Bowser questioning Luigi?
Not yet. In any case, not yet. So then Toad. As Mario and the Mushroom Princess are talking with each other, Toad suddenly comes out of nowhere, singing about going on an adventure.
Yeah, but they let him go because he said he was the only Toad brave enough to protect the princess.
So then Toad celebrates by continuing to sing about going on a fucking adventure.
Enough with the F words.
Oh, well, you do realize we can swear, right?
Yes, but you don't need to use it every time.
Well,
You're overusing it.
Well, this is a review. We're trying to give our opinions on this. So then, this kind of doesn't make sense. Why are all the other Toads scared about not going with the Mushroom Princess, but Toad is the only Toad that's brave enough to go on an adventure. Like why is it that Toad is the only Toad that's brave enough? Because think about it. Shouldn't there be other Toads that are brave enough?
Sometimes there's only one in the crowd who's brave enough to stick up for what he thinks is right.
I suppose that's true, but shouldn't there be more than just one? Why is Toad?
Well, there is more than just one. Don't you forget the castle guards were in there trying to protect the princess. So there were more other brave Toads, just not as brave.
Why didn't some of the guards join them on their journey?
Because they stayed at home to guard the castle.
Okay,
Hey.
you got me there.
Okay, so let's move on.
So they traverse through a variety of terrain or lands, whatever you want to say, continents.
They make their long journey to get there.
Yeah, and then once they stop at a mountain, we cut to probably one of the worst moments in video game movie history.
Hey, describe it instead of getting into what you think of it. After everybody has an opinion of it.
Okay, so we cut to Bowser's simping song.
And he goes on and on about how much he's in love with her, even though he's never met her, never had a date with her, never talked to her, and he knows she hates him, but he's still in love with her and still wants to marry her, so he's a stalker. In old terms, he's a stalker.
Okay, what does everyone else think about this? Because I hate it, Richard hates it, anyone else?
The song where he's singing, Princess Peach!
I gotta see the movie again.
Well, okay.
Can you sing the song again so I can remember it?
I cannot sing, but he's saying peaches, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, that
was the one that made us cringe. Remember?
I think that song is verbally made for a different age group, and the melody is for a different age group other than the target age group that they're going for.
Clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
But clearly, if you get the words, and it's like, this guy's a stalker.
So it's not too, that also, but it's not too good of a fit.
No. It's not.
In any case, thankfully, the Koopa tactician interrupts him from going any further. So
that's right.
So you can thank him for doing that. Everyone clap for the Koopa tactician.
So next, he tells him all about...
So then the Koopa tactician informs them that a mustachioed human has arrived in the Mushroom Kingdom, and that Peach has been training him, and that they're up to something.
And Bowser gets mad when he finds out he says, "Well, do you think he likes him?" The mustached person. He goes, "Yes," and Bowser gets angry. Remember, he slams his fingers into the keyboard and smashes them.
That's not exactly what happened. Bowser asks the Koopa tactician if the princess likes him or something like that, and then the Koopa tactician tells him to look at himself in the mirror and says that he has nothing to worry about. Bowser replies that he isn't threatened, and then slams the piano cover on the Koopa tactician's fingers, which is probably surprisingly painful. Because think about it. Have you ever had a piano cover slammed on your fingers before?
No, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yep, an 1890 upright.
And it hurt?
Oh, yeah.
It hurt like hell?
It gave me a couple of black fingernails.
See?
Oh, wow. That has...
What did I do to your fingernails?
Look, they're black.
It gave me a couple of black fingernails.
You guys can't see it, but trust me.
When I was messing around, I was a little kid. Sister comes along, whang, pulls the cover down. It's solid oak.
Damn.
You guys can't see it, but you guys can't see it, but Bob actually does have black fingernails. Or actually, do you want to show the audience?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, no visuals.
Well, don't worry. Well, then just trust me.
That was from mechanicking.
Okay, but it does the same thing.
Well, in any case, cutting to a field of fire flowers. Peach takes in a fire flower flame and gains the fire flower's powers. And now this raises some questions, which means that that the mushroom power-ups have to be eaten. But for some reason with the other power-ups, they have to be absorbed.
That's expressing the power of flamers.
Well, think about it. This is kind of messed up. Why specifically do the mushrooms have to be eaten? Why does Mario have to suffer eating those? Why do they have to be eaten?
Because it was a representation of him having to go through pain to get what he wanted to get, his brother back. He had to go through the trial before he could get to his brother to save him.
Yes. But...
And now as for the flame, don't forget there's another flower in the movie that also was simply absorbed.
Well, we're not at that point yet.
Yeah, but the point is there's two different flowers in the movie, and in each case they had to be absorbed. In the case of the mushrooms, they had to be eaten. And in the case of other power-ups,
they also have to be absorbed.
They were actually kind of like
absorbed.
Like the star.
They were absorbed.
They were absorbed.
So yeah, only the mushroom power-ups have to be absorbed, which is bullshit because
easy.
Eaten, not absorbed.
Eaten. They're eaten.
Yes.
They're eaten. The mushrooms are eaten. They're not absorbed.
Yes, I know, but why do the mushroom power-ups have to be eaten and not absorbed?
Because it was a representation of Mario having to do something he disliked in order to accomplish his goal.
Like eating mushrooms.
But it's never explained because why? Because.
But we just told you why.
Remember the scene at the dinner table where they're all with the family and grandpa?
Yes, but yes.
They had mushrooms
and wait. Did you say something about a grandpa?
Yeah,
yes, he was a grandpa.
You talking about the
wait, hold on. Before you go any farther.
He was a sub-character.
He's a sub-character, and that was a family dinner at the family dinner table in their home. They were all relatives.
That could just be any kind of old man.
No.
That could also be another uncle or something.
Okay, but
great uncle maybe.
Maybe great uncle.
Grandpa's brother.
Grandpa's brother, great uncle.
What? Okay.
Oh, okay, but here's the thing. That was everyone at that table was family, and he expressed the fact that he didn't like mushrooms and he
Mario.
avoided them. Mario. Later on, in order to save his brother, he has to sacrifice by eating the one thing he doesn't like.
Hates.
All right. Okay. So
He hates. He specifically said that and I quote, "Now this has to be mushroom because I just hate mushrooms."
Okay, but here's the point. He had to do something that unpleasant in order to save his brother. He had to go through the sacrifice of eating the unpleasant mushrooms.
Okay. Well, in any case, next we finally hear about where Peach came from because Peach doesn't look like any of the toads, and it turns out Peach is also from another world, and the toads some toads found her all of a sudden and then take her in as one of her own, and then once she was ready, she became the Mushroom Princess, and then Mario Mario gets the idea that possibly Peach is from his world.
And what is her response? There are many worlds out there.
Yeah, there are many worlds out there. And remember, that as we saw in the gateway, there were also many other gateway pipes that weren't connected to the one Mario was using. So it could be possible. So it's plausible that Peach could also be from one of those worlds. But we don't know specifically where she came from.
Okay, so that's enough of that because we're just going on a side tangent.
Because that mystery remains unsolved.
Okay, but
so
you don't need to...
How about this?
Call them transport tubes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but they're more like gateways.
Well, you can think of them as transport tubes with a portal.
Yeah. He's right. They're transport tubes with a portal to another place, from one to another.
Well, I mean, that's could also work. So everyone, where do you think Peach came from?
Earth.
Milton?
Earth.
Sunday school, I don't know.
That's
I don't know, it's a hard one.
a good.
Yeah, okay, so then you don't know. What about you? What about you, Bob?
Under a cabbage patch leaf.
Under a cabbage patch. I mean, yeah, we can just say for certain she's a humanoid. A being that looks like a human, but we don't know if it's a human or not.
Do you know if it's a girl?
A princess is a female. So, clearly when the toads took her in, they were able to identify her as a female.
Okay.
Clearly, because in the movie they refer to it as a her,
So
meaning
that's why
a female.
Bowser wants to marry her.
Yeah, because he's a boy.
All right, I got you.
Yeah, Bowser's a king, which means he's a male. You didn't get that already? Were you not listening?
He watched it. So, hey, you're getting off sidetrack here.
Oh, right. So then we finally get to the part what you've been waiting for. So then after the scene cuts off where Mario and Peach were looking at the many worlds while Toad's playing a flute for some reason, we finally cut off to Luigi and the Mass Tribe landing on Bowser's continent ship thing. And it turns out that the tribe wasn't actually a tribe. They were They were Koopa Troopas wearing masks the whole time.
But
So then the Koopa tactician teleports in and brings Luigi to Bowser, and Bowser says that he says to leave Luigi to him. Now, you know what happens next, Richard. So why don't you explain to the audience?
what happens next is he questions him about who's the other mustached character in the world, and he denies knowing who he is. And after he asks him who he is, he tells him who he is, but he doesn't want to give up who his brother is, Mario. And finally, after having his mustache pulled on repeatedly, he talks from the pain, and he finally tells him who Mario is. And at this point, they turn around, and after he's finished questioning, he's given up his brother's identity. He just gets thrown into a cage over a pit of lava with all the other prisoners.
Yes,
including a crazy, psychotic nut job of a
star-like creature
who is singing nothing but weird things.
Well,
I mean, totally
well,
weird.
I mean, yes. So then after Bowser
breaks Luigi and makes him talk.
Yes,
That's what he did.
yes, and asked him if princesses find him attractive. Luigi says they probably do if they have good taste for some reason. I do.
Throw yourselves in a little insult.
And then
Bowser.
orders Luigi to get thrown into a prison, thinking that killing Luigi will make Mario less tough. So then we cut to a prison, and Luigi encounters a starlight creature that sounds like a child for some reason, and this character has to be one of the worst characters in this movie. Because other than Bowser, probably this one is the most pointless character in this movie. Because his sole purpose is to cause despair to the prisoners. So in any case, it turns out that the Ice Fortress citizens had also been in prison there. So then the chief of the Ice Fortress citizens tells him to not pay any attention and ignore that vehicle in the background for some reason. I do not know why it is here. We'll just keep talking. So then, because even though he looks I forget the word. Even though he looks.
What are you talking about?
So the Ice Fortress chief says to pay him no heed. He is something, but he is...
Basically, he implies that he's crazy, which he is. He's just nuts.
Yeah, so the insane starlight creature goes on and on about despair and all of that, and says that there's no escape and that the only hope is to die.
Sounds like a little demon goth.
There you go.
But seriously, why make him sound like a freaking child?
Because it's a reference to another horror movie.
Okay.
Counterpoint. It could be like a reference to The Grudge or something.
Yeah,
similar.
the Grudge characters sound like that too.
Guys.
These are horror movie references.
Guys, okay.
They're horror movie references.
What about you two? Why do you think the insane starlight creature sounds like a child?
You gotta see the movie again.
That's creepy.
Of course. What about you?
Same thing.
It like I said, it's probably a reference to a horror movie. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of references in the movie to different movies.
And when you have a small child, which is what it sounded like, talking about gloom and doom and death, it's
we don't even know who's voicing him.
It doesn't matter who's voicing him.
Because it could be an adult trying to sound like a child, or maybe it's an actual child voicing him.
What does that have to do with the fact that the character is creepy?
That is a fair point. We are moving on to the Jungle Kingdom.
Thank you.
It reminded me a little bit of Christina Ricci from the Addams Family.
That too. Just move on to the next thing. The Jungle Kingdom. Now, before he starts, I would like to reference the fact that when you see the entrance to the Jungle Kingdom's kingdom, it looks like a ripoff from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It does. It looks like it.
I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, but it looks like a ripoff from that entrance.
Was what year?
1985.
Really?
Yes, the same year as the original game.
Super Mario Bros. Do you think
that was a definite reference?
Do you think that was intentional?
Yes.
I don't know about it, but seriously, does everyone here think it's...
The way it opened up...
There's references to a lot of movies and a lot of games from back in that era.
That's right.
Little
references all over the place. But that entrance is a dead giveaway to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Oh, and
the Jungle Book and the orangutan.
The orangutans, the jungle... But there's another... You know when they were hanging over the lava in the cages?
Yeah.
That was a reference for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
I thought it was the Crystal Skull.
No, it was the Temple of Doom. And that is a direct reference to when they were kids. That's how they would sacrifice their evil sacrifices. And that is also a 1985 movie reference.
I see.
So there were a couple of references. Anyways, you may continue with the Jungle Kingdom.
So the trio finally arrive to the gates of the Jungle Kingdom, where they meet the gatekeeper.
And what is the gatekeeper dressed in? He's wearing a white sports coat. Do you know what that's a reference to?
Enlighten me.
Miami Vice. Don Johnson wearing the white sports coat. It's a reference to a TV movie, series from 1985.
You gotta be kidding me.
There's another reference
How
to
many of these are in this movie?
There's more.
I'm surprised that Universal Pictures and Nintendo haven't gotten sued already.
No, because
this is cultural.
Cultural, and you don't get sued for culture. Plus, Miami Vice is. Guess who owns the rights to Miami Vice?
Who? Universal?
Who
Thank
is?
Miami Vice is the rights to Miami Vice is owned by Universal Studios.
Universal Pictures. They're called Universal Pictures.
Yeah, Universal Picture owns the rights to Miami Vice,
Well,
so they can reference it and still not get sued. Anyways, moving on. So he's in his Don Johnson white sports coat, and he opens the door.
Yeah, and
it is.
And Peach tells them that they are there to see the king, and the gatekeeper tells them to get in their vehicle and drives recklessly throughout the Jungle Kingdom in order to arrive to the king.
Yes.
While Mario and Peach freak out, Toad is actually enjoying it.
That's right.
So I guess
Because it goes to show one thing. Toad is fearless.
Well, yeah, I guess it proves that he fears nothing.
That's right. So they get to the king.
So they get to the king. So they arrive. So they meet the Jungle King, and Peach reveals his name actually, which is Cranky Kong, and it turns out that Cranky Kong knew that they were going to ask him about his army.
And he turns him down.
Well, yes, even though Peach gave probably legitimate reasons, saying that they have heart and that with their strength they'll win, and that if the Mushroom Kingdom falls, then the Jungle Kingdom will be next for certain. But yet they still get turned down. Then Mario steps in, and Cranky Kong laughs for some reason, and tells them decides to make a bet with Mario that if Mario can defeat his son. Why did I say song?
Because
anyway.
You got that song on your mind.
Well, I mean, yes. The song in this movie is terrible, but anyways, let me go on.
Peaches.
Yes. Anyways, getting off topic. So Cranky Kong decides to make a bet with Mario that if Mario can defeat his son, the Prince of the Jungle Kingdom, he will lend his strength from his army. But Peach says that this is a really bad idea. And so, but then Mario realizes that there's no other way to save his brother and decides to take up his deal, saying that he will defeat Cranky Kong's son, the Prince of the Jungle Kingdom. And so we cut to the Great Ring of Kong.
Right. But
so then Mario comes out, and since he is the challenger, the audience boos him, since he's not with the Jungle Kingdom, and since he is the challenger. Right. So when the defender, the Jungle Prince, comes out, everyone cheers for him since he's the defender and the Jungle Prince.
And they do give his name. It is Donkey Kong. Despite what you say, it says DK, and they do say Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong. He is Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and starts showboating for some reason.
Of course, he is showboating. And do you know when he's over there showboating? There's another movie reference in there.
Oh my God.
He's over there and he's flexing his pectoral muscles like a bodybuilder. And the bodybuilder that was known to do that in 1985 was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my God.
So there's another reference to another 1985 icon, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Well,
but anyways, continue.
In any case.
In the big arms too. Remember the big arm muscles? That was
that
also
could easily just be coincidence because Donkey Kong is from an arcade game, and this could.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do that stuff in his posing for his bodybuilding. So
do you think maybe that? Do you think maybe
Arnold and Lou?
Oh, that's right, Lou Ferrigno.
Do you think maybe that's where they got Donkey Kong's personality from?
Hard to say. What do you think?
Donkey Kong's
personality, kind of like cocky, and that kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger is kind of cocky and kind of arrogant.
But yeah, what do you think?
I don't associate those two together. I think it's more of the layout of the game theme.
It's more the layout of the game thing, but some of the little things they had him do were definitely referencing that.
What do you two think?
Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He got like Mr. Universe or something, didn't he?
He was Mr. in '85.
Like Mr.
No.
Universe.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I only watch video
But,
game movies.
You know, he's
Oh.
sure he had no problems with the women.
But anyway, so Donkey Kong and Mario are about to battle.
Fight.
And they battle.
Yeah. So then, when Mario charges in, anyways, before the fight started, Cranky Kong tells the crowd to shut up multiple times, and makes an announcement that to make the fight last more than 5 seconds, he put power-ups around the arena. And Donkey Kong says that he doesn't need any power-ups to break every bone in Mario's tiny body.
And
So
they
then-
go at it.
So then they start to fight, and Mario leads in with an attack, which fails because Donkey Kong grabs him and starts beating the shit out of him.
But in the end,
In any case, once Mario gets back up, he goes toward a power-up block and gets a blue magic mushroom, which he eats, because remember we said that the mushroom power-ups specifically have to be eaten. When he charges, it looks like he has grown, but in reality he actually shrunk because once he ate the mushroom, the crowd gasped in horror. So then, once Mario realizes this, it turns out that the blue mushrooms aren't magic mushrooms, but rather different magic mushrooms. Instead of making you bigger, they actually make you smaller. So then, Cranky Kong, of course, points this out, and Donkey Kong laughs at Mario's new ant size, or something like that.
And then proceeds to flick him with his finger, and when he hits the wall, he turns to normal size, because when you get hit,
you lose the power.
Right.
Well, I mean, when would you ever use that? When would you ever use a mushroom that shrinks you
If you're
down?
trying to get into a really tiny spot in the game.
Well, I mean, that's not in the game. That's actually a movie exclusive.
What?
Or you're in high school.
So here's the thing. He turns around and they continue to battle. Eventually, he does get a power-up of use.
Yeah. He tries getting a fire flower. Donkey Kong blows out the flame of the fire flower, making it useless. And then Donkey Kong keeps beating the shit out of Mario.
Launches him up into forever.
The air because Mario says that he wasn't even close to making him reach his breaking point. And then with the punch drunk Mario, Peach calls out to him and tells him that there's a power-up box in front of him. And so when Mario hits it, he gets a power-up known as the cat box, implied by Donkey Kong. And Mario laughs. I mean Donkey Kong laughs at Mario's new appearance because who would ever want to be a cat? And so once he gets his act together, he tries to start punching Mario again. But then Mario nimbly dodges Donkey Kong's attack and realizes that he actually has the powers of a cat. So then, Mario starts counterattacking Donkey Kong since he has the nimbility and strength of a cat. And so once he's done beating him up, Mario asks Donkey Kong if he's had enough. And a drunken Donkey Kong replies that he wasn't even close. And once he's about to fall over, Mario grabs him and says he'll take it as a yes, and falls over in defeat. And then, for some stupid reason, the arena, the ring crowd cheers for him for some reason, even though he was the fucking challenger.
However, you missed the point. He went from the underdog to the winner. So they went from cheering for the guy they thought that was gonna win to cheering for the underdog who beat the odds and won. So that's why they were cheering for him, because he beat the odds in beating Donkey Kong. The guy that surely shouldn't have won beat the odds and won.
So then after the fight, we see Mario go back to his normal state, and this raises some questions. If he still had the powers of the cat box, how did he lose it? Because if you remember, you have to get hit in order to lose the power up. So maybe he got punched by someone on the way back, or
Probably.
something.
Maybe Peach hit him.
Yeah, that's a possibility. So in any case, Peach tells Mario that even though he kept getting beat, he kept getting beat senseless. He just kept getting back up again and again, and Mario didn't think that was a good thing. So then Donkey Kong comes out and says that he actually let him win, but in reality he didn't let him win. He was just trying to defend his honor.
Trying to save face.
Yeah, so then it looks like Mario and Donkey Kong are about to fight again, but Cranky Kong breaks them up and tells them that Bowser's going to arrive at the Mushroom Kingdom by sundown, but he has a shortcut, and it turns out they were going to ambush Bowser, and in order to get there fast enough, they were going to need vehicles. And we cut to the
Underground garage.
Yes, where they made all the vehicles and stuff.
And
So then when Donkey Kong goes off to get his vehicle, Cranky Kong tells the trio, that being Mario, Peach, and Toad, to pick their vehicles or carts, and they do exactly that. Mario picks a go-kart, Peach picks a motorbike, and Toad picks a giant 4x4.
And then they take off on a road to go on the secret entrance to get back to the Mushroom Kingdom to wait in ambush for Bowser.
Yes, and we cut to Bowser, which looks like he's going to be like doing something evil or something, but he puts a hat on, a top hat, I think it is, right? Top hat?
He puts on a top hat and he's dressed in a tuxedo and he's practicing his proposal to Princess Peach.
Well, I mean, yes, but I think it's more like role play.
It was role play, and he's practicing because the tactician is having to play the part of Peach.
And this is the question. Why is it specifically the tactician is dressed up like Peach? Why wasn't it like the captain or the general or something?
Because if you notice, there are certain times where the tactician gives Bowser advice and advises him on what to try to do.
I mean, yeah,
He does that.
So we're saying he's a cross-dresser?
Oh, you might be right. That's true. The tactician is cross-dresser because he's dressed up in the dress.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like
that is kind of implied into it.
So then, does that mean that the Koopa tactician is gay?
Maybe.
Not necessarily. Just some of them like to cross-dress.
Yeah, he might not be gay. He just dresses in women's clothing.
What do you think? What do you think, Dylan? Do you think the Koopa tactician is gay or straight?
Or bi.
That's also.
They like it both. They like
what do you think?
The best of both worlds.
I don't know.
Don't know. All right. Anyways, the Koopa. So before the role playing could get any more sus, thankfully, for the second time in this movie, the Koopa General busts in and interrupts them. So thank these.
Okay, good.
So and informs them that that they found the princess and the mustachioed human, and that Mario has defeated Donkey Kong and won the Kong army, and that they're heading toward the secret passage, and so Bowser prepares a counterattack against them. So going back toward with the Kong army, Mario notices that the road's about to end, and Cranky Kong informs him to step on his vehicle's gas pedal. And so he does that, and all of a sudden, Mario, Peach, Toad, and the Kong army land on a road that happens to be a rainbow for some reason, or a road that's rainbow colored. I don't know. That's a good question.
It's pretty sus though.
What makes you think that?
Rainbows.
rainbows. How's that sus?
So I guess the question would be to the audience, how has the changes in the law of the LGBTQ community benefited them?
Yeah.
What?
The LGBTQ plus community has their symbol is rainbows, and they put a rainbow into the movie.
And they got a boy wearing girls' clothes.
And they have the tactician's
Drag queen was what
they have the tactician, a guy dressed in women's clothing.
Well, I mean,
So there are a little bit of references there about that stuff in the movie.
yeah, this is confusing.
I know, but it's in there.
What's exactly they're supposed to be their audience?
That's a different subject altogether.
Yeah, but it's interesting how they snuck it into the movie. Yeah, they did sneak some portion of that in. Anyway, they're on the Rainbow Highway.
Yeah, and then Peach and Mario continue to grow their friendship bond closer.
And Donkey Kong teases him by saying, "Those are the worst pickup lines I've ever heard."
Well, I mean,
which goes to show Bob's point that there is an undertone that Mario is attracted to the princess, because even Donkey Kong told him, "Those are the worst pickup lines I've ever heard, dude. You're embarrassing."
Well, I mean,
it's true. He said it.
But Mario was just trying to be nice to her, because because Peach was just asking if there was anything like this in his world, and asked if turtles are evil in his world, and Mario tells her that they're actually or usually pets, and then says that maybe if she comes to Brooklyn, he can buy her a turtle or something like that. And Peach responds by saying she might. And then Donkey Kong comes in and says, "Dude, is this you flirting or something? This is painful." Then Mario clarifies to Donkey Kong that he was only trying to be nice to her. There's no proof that Mario is attracted to the princess, because he was only trying to be nice. I mean, think about it. If you replaced Mario with a female individual and the same thing happened, you wouldn't assume they would be attracted to each other, right?
Especially if she had a mustache.
Yeah. So Mario was just trying to be nice.
Okay.
Why are you making this? Why are you trying?
Because earlier on, when Princess Peach and Mario and the Toad were on their trek to go to the Donkey Kong, they were again standing with each other, looking at the stars.
Yeah, they were.
And it kind of looked like he was kind of looking at her a little bit.
Well, no, they were looking at the sky because they were wondering where could Peach have come from.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they were clearly giving off that vibe.
Okay, so let's move on to now we are on the rainbow. They're all driving along, and who comes in?
Yeah. So Donkey Kong. So then Donkey Kong says Mario's embarrassing and that a princess would never go out with him, and then Toad comes in, and then Toad drives in and says that a princess would be able to go out with Mario and guarantees it, and then Peach tells them both of them to stop, and then they back up, and then the Koopa Empire begin attacking the Kong army, and this brings out disaster throughout the movie because I mean because
the Koopa army gets captured, but there is another movie reference in that whole Warriors.
You're thinking about the Kong army.
The Kong army gets captured, but there's another movie reference.
So anyways, the Koopa general tries to kill Mario. Like, why is he specifically aiming for Mario's life?
Because he's jealous because he's talking to his love interest, the princess.
The Koopa General is jealous or something?
No, the Koopa General is trying to kill him on the orders from Bowser.
Oh, I see.
Now, but I want to.
So in any case, so at one point when Donkey Kong fires an RPG barrel rocket at what?
Excuse me.
He just burped.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, once Donkey Kong fired an RPG barrel rocket at the Koopa General's vehicle. The vehicle explodes, and the Kong army, along with the other three, they go off to Bowser's continent ship in order to finish the fight. well, I think they're more. I think they're driving back to the Mushroom Kingdom to stop him or something. But then, for some unknown reason, the Koopa General survived the explosion. Like, do you know anyone who could survive a?
No, but you missed the other point. Do you remember what happens to Mario and Donkey Kong? They fall in the water and they get swallowed by.
Yeah, but before that happened, he pursues Mario and Donkey Kong and rigs his body to explode. And once he explodes, he dies. I mean, what insane person would rig their body to explode? Like, why would he kill himself in order to...
Okay, enough of that. He did what he did, but like I told you, you missed the movie reference.
What?
When Donkey Kong and Mario fall into the water.
Yeah.
There's 2 movie references there.
One is Sonic the Hedgehog, obviously,
yes,
because that reminded me but it's more like the roles were reversed because Donkey Kong was the one who is against Mario because if you know in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Knuckles was trying to kill Sonic, and in this case, in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Donkey Kong was trying to kill Mario. Right. So in this case, the roles were reversed because if you remember in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Knuckles saved Sonic, or in this case, Mario saved Donkey Kong.
Yes, but the whole point of it was that the two rivals became allies. Number 1, and number 2. Do you remember what did they get swallowed by?
They get swallowed by a long creature.
Right, and that is a reference to Pinocchio. Pinocchio gets and the Jiminy Cricket gets swallowed by a whale, and eventually they get out of the whale by setting off a fire. In this case, they set off an explosive to get out of the whale.
Well, I mean,
of a creature. We're not. So that is a Pinocchio reference.
Well, we're not at that point. We're not at that point yet.
Yeah, but that's a definite movie reference to another movie.
Well, in any case, thanks for bringing that up. So, in any case, we're back to the Mushroom Kingdom. Peach and Toad arrive in time and tell the Mushroom Kingdom citizens to evacuate since Bowser's on his way. And so they go back to the castle, and Peach informs that they lost the Kong army and Mario died. So, and then tell them that to head into the mushroom forest so that she can buy some time. And so they do that, except for Toad, who said he was determined to not let anything happen to Peach.
Right.
So then Bowser finally arrives, and Peach and Toad arm themselves for combat. And so a gang of Koopa Troopas come out, now led by the Koopa Captain, since the Koopa General had died. And so this is where things go really, really, you know what, forget it. I'll just go ahead and tell. So Bowser comes out and along with the Koopa Tactician, who teleports in for some reason. I don't know how. It's never explained how he's able to teleport, but whatever. And says that he has finally found the superstar, and that if he was to use this, and Peach tells Bowser if he's to use the superstar to use it now. But Bowser said that he found the star for them, and he tries to I don't know what, but
he tries to propose that they get married, and she refuses, and then they start torturing one of the Toads, and she agrees to marry him.
I mean, why? Okay.
But the thing is this:
it's more like blackmail.
It is, but he is blackmailing her. That's how twisted he is. He's so twisted.
I mean,
Bowser is twisted. He is a twisted stalker.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. It's not a deal. It's more like it's not a deal at all. It's blackmail, because if he refused, he would destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. I mean, who does that? Do you know anyone who would do that?
No, but its point is it just goes to show how evil and twisted Bowser's character is supposed to be.
Yes, but it's also messed up.
It is messed up. So we go on, and she agrees only because she doesn't want Toad to be killed.
Or any of the other.
Right. So he agrees, I won't. He says, now remember his words, I won't destroy the Mushroom Kingdom.
No, he says that you have my word.
Yeah, but that was regarding the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes. He said he wouldn't destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. He said he wouldn't hurt the Toads.
The Toads.
Yes.
But what does he do in the next scene?
We're not at that point yet. So in any case, so we cut back to the prison where the insane starlight creature sings about despair and life being sad and something, and then oh my God, turn your
He got it.
don't play that. You're gonna get us sued.
Hey.
Why were you doing
Hey,
that?
hey! You're wasting time on the YouTube channel. Come on, waste up. Come on.
Okay.
Focus.
Okay, well, in any case, we cut back to so then the Kongs get dropped in since they were recently captured, and Cranky Kong asks who this thing is, and then the insane starlight creature says something that causes the Ice Fortress chief or king, whatever, that tells him to shut the hell up.
Anyways,
and then the Koopa tactician all of a sudden comes, teleports in, and says that they're all invited to the royal wedding where they will all be ritualistically sacrificed.
Which is twisted.
And so all the prisoners start to panic, except for the insane starlight creature who thinks death is mercy.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we cut back to Mario and Donkey Kong, who survived getting eaten by the creature, which turns out to be an eel.
Yes, but they're still inside it, just like Pinocchio. They're inside the belly of the beast in underwater.
So
that's a Pinocchio reference.
Yeah. So in any case, soon enough they realize both their dads think they're jokes, but then Donkey Kong starts getting aggressive again, saying that Mario's dad is actually right about him, and then Mario calls Donkey Kong a smash monkey, and that causes Donkey Kong to get even more pissed, because he's more than just because he's not a monkey, he's a Kong, and he's goddamn royalty.
Yes, but here's the thing. When he starts beating on his stomach, they realize that they're in the stomach and the stomach's sensitive, so that's when they set off the rocket to get out.
Yep, they fire Donkey Kong's vehicle's other RPG barrel rocket, and they escape. And then we go back to one of the worst parts of the movie, the royal wedding. Someone please explain this part.
So they go to the royal wedding, and Toad has brought Peach a bouquet of flowers and says, "Here's your bouquet, princess." She goes out, and Bowser's is dressed up in his tuxedo, all ready to marry Princess Peach, and she's all dressed in a white gown, and they're gonna get married. And he goes, "Will you?" And then when she says something, she goes, "No, I would never marry you. You're a horrible creature."
Yeah, along with killing the Koopa tactician.
Right, and then she turns around and she pulls out a ice flower from the bouquet.
It's never said that it was an ice flower. It's more like a flower that grants you the ability to freeze things.
So then she freezes Bowser. She freezes the thing that was lowering them all into the lava, and she starts attacking everybody.
Yes, and then Mario and Donkey Kong arrive just in time, but only to be shot down by a bullet bill.
Yes, but
then they start tackling the Koopa Empire, and Donkey throws the and this is one of the most confusing parts. Why isn't the RPG barrel rocket exploded once the bullet bill hit it? If you remember from earlier, when it was fired, when the other RPG barrel rocket was fired, it exploded once it got in contact with the Koopa General's vehicle. Why is it that it exploded once? Why is it that it didn't explode once it got into contact with the bullet bill?
Because it didn't hit it on the nose of the RPG. It hit it on the side of the RPG, so it didn't set off the explosive.
Ah, I see. So
you have to hit it on the tip of the RPG.
Well, okay, so then explain this to me. Donkey Kong throws the RPG barrel rocket like a barrel, and once it hits all the power-up blocks, it explodes. Which means it exploded once it got hit on the side. So, is there a certain amount of force that has to be applied?
Maybe he threw it with enough force to set off the explosive on the tip.
Maybe that might be a possibility. Well, in any case, so then both Mario and Donkey Kong get power ups. Mario gets a magic mushroom, while Donkey Kong gets a fire flower.
But
both use the power ups that they got and tackle the Koopa Empire. But both lose their powers once because they got hit by a Koopa Troopa shell. So then Mario hits another power up block and a leaf comes out of it and turns him into a flying bear.
Yeah, and at that point he goes off and he saves Donkey Kong, brings them back up. Remember?
Yeah. So Mario and Donkey Kong arrive just in time, and yeah, the ice that was holding the gears breaks, and the prisoners are lowered. But Donkey Kong comes in time and saves them all, and Luigi falls over, but Mario saves him, reminding them that nothing can hurt them as long as they're together.
Which is the second time he said that.
Yeah. So then Luigi points out Mario's bear-like appearance, and and then Donkey Kong meets up with rescues father, and
then they start fighting.
No, they don't. So Bowser breaks out. Bowser breaks his head out of the ice, and orders his forces to launch the Bomber Bill and destroy the Mushroom Kingdom.
And at which point Mario leads the Bomber Bill around until it goes to the pipe that he came into the kingdom in the first place.
Yes.
And it explodes.
Yes, it explodes in the gateway. And since nothing like that and since the gateway was never meant to handle something like that, the gateway pipe causes an explosion force, pushing everything back with immense amounts of force, but then start to absorb everything in order to correct itself. So then it does exactly that. Everyone tries to hold on, but Mario eventually loses his grip and gets but since Mario lost his power due to him hitting Bowser's ship, he wasn't able to get out of there. So then he gets absorbed, and then he gets sent back to Brooklyn.
But the rest of the stuff gets sent back to Brooklyn as well. Remember?
Yes. As Mario is about to blame Mario for almost denting his something.
You mean Spike?
Yes, Spike. I thought I said that.
No, you said Mario and Mario.
Oh, sorry. So once Spike is about to blame Mario for almost denting his something, Bowser's continent ship suddenly comes out with everyone on it. But as everyone in Brooklyn tries to run away, the force from Bowser's ship pushes Mario back. So Toad and Donkey Kong are crushed by stuff that came out of the ship, and then Luigi comes out and hides in a nearby dumpster.
Yeah, and at that point, then Donkey Kong lifts the rubble off of Peach and Toad, and they start to proceed to fight with Bowser.
But then
and the army.
So here's the question: Bowser was in his wedding outfit earlier, right? But when we see him, he's back to he's not wearing it anymore. What even happened? How was he able to get out of his wedding outfit that quickly?
Maybe it didn't make it through the transport.
Do you think maybe it got burned or something along the way?
Maybe it got burned off of him.
Yeah, that's a good question. These guys really need to pay more attention to the details they put in there.
Any case, go on.
So in any case, Bowser fights. Bowser beats the crap out of Mario and blames and thinking that he's the reason why the wedding was ruined, and then tail whips him into a nearby restaurant.
Right, where he sees his commercial that tells him they're there to save Brooklyn.
And then Mario gets out, even though he was beat up badly. He still has to keep on going. So then Peach kicks a nearby Koopa Troopa shell into the superstar, and Bowser needs to get it, because if Mario gets it, everything is over. So then, once Bowser breathes fire onto Mario, Luigi comes in with a manhole cover, that blocks the flame, and tells him that nothing can hurt him as long as they're together. So then, when the manhole cover starts to bend, Mario and Luigi go and try to grab the superstar, but they are burned before they can touch it. Peach watches in horror, and then all of a sudden they come out the brothers come out with the powers of the superstar.
And they battle Bowser and his army and destroy them all.
Yes. The hypersonic brothers save the citizens of Brooklyn and kill the entirety of the Koopa Empire in the process. And
except for Bowser.
Yes. Once they beat Bowser, however, Peach shoves a blue magic mushroom into Bowser's mouth, causing him to shrink down like Mario did. But this raises the question: Aren't the mushroom power-ups supposed to reach your digestive?
He shoved it in his mouth.
Yes, but isn't it supposed to hit your stomach in order?
Clearly, you just have to put it in your mouth, because they shrunk Bowser right away.
This
is not a question to worry about. The main thing is that once it was in him, he shrank him down, and they put him in a jar.
Yeah.
Like a pet.
Yeah. So
Mario kept his word to Princess Peach that he would get her a pet turtle.
But Bowser's not a turtle. He's a Koopa.
Actually, he said he was a turtle.
No, he said no. When did he say that?
He says, "I'm the most powerful turtle in the world."
No, he said Tartar.
Turtle.
No, I'm certain it said Tartar.
You didn't miss
right,
him.
Right?
I gotta see the movie again.
He's gotta see
it. Didn't it say Tartar? Didn't he say Tartar? I mean, he might have said turtle. It's hard to understand him and the Koopa tactician.
Well, anyways, you're just about at the end of the movie at this point.
Yeah, you're right. So in any case, Mario Sr. and Mia come up and praise their sons for saving Brooklyn. And the entirety of Brooklyn cheer for them, along with their former enemies. And
that's it.
Yep. Well, that's not exactly it. 3 weeks after that, 3 weeks later, the Mario brothers get up for work, and now they live in the Mushroom Kingdom for some reason. I do not know why. Like, why didn't they just stay in Brooklyn? Wasn't that where they were living?
Okay, well, wait a minute now. They're heroes in the Mushroom Kingdom, so they want to go live with their heroes.
No, they were heroes in Brooklyn. So why didn't they just stay in Brooklyn? Why did they move to the Mushroom Kingdom?
These are questions I cannot answer.
Well, in any case, Bowser. So in any case, back with Bowser after the main part of the credits end. Bowser is still sipping for Peach and singing that peaches, peaches, peaches.
Even when he's been a stalker, he's been totally, completely rejected. He's been shrank into a mini turtle, stuck in a cage with a piano. He's still in love with Peach. He is a sick, twisted individual.
Yeah, he's one sick motherfucker. In any case, since Bowser's species is now endangered, Bowser is the last Koopa alive, making his species endangered.
Right.
So then, when a guard comes in and taps on his cage, telling him to shut up, Bowser gets enraged, thinking he shouldn't be treated this way. But then the guard slams the door on him before he can say anything more.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, in a part of underground Brooklyn, a spotted egg that's been appearing throughout the Mushroom Kingdom suddenly hatches, thinking it was a Koopa that was in an egg this whole time, and makes a strange sound that no one has ever heard before.
You think it's a Koopa? I think it.
You said it was. You said it might have been a Koopa because Wait. Do Koopas lay eggs or something?
Okay, it could be a Koopa. It was in the pile of power-ups that Donkey Kong and Mario were after when they went and battled.
Actually, no, that was at the wedding.
At the wedding, yes, it was sitting there in the pile.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same egg, same color. Question is, what kind of egg is it? Is it a Koopa egg or is it a Yoshi egg? Because earlier in the movie, they did briefly show the Yoshis.
What Yoshi? I don't know what that is.
They're flying turtles.
Flying turtles?
At least I think that's what you call them.
Well, no, you're thinking of the Koopa paratroopers.
Okay, no. These didn't have wings.
Whatever.
We're going to find out.
So, well, in any case, that's it. And this was one shit-filled movie. So now to give our final opinions on this movie.
Okay,
so in any case, hey, Rob, what are your final thoughts on this movie?
Well, for an age group of younger children, it could be okay. Older family members that remember it find it a little difficult because of the how should you put it, the hidden aspects of the references to stuff we were growing up with, but yet still not blatantly positive.
Well,
It makes it hard for the more mid-level age viewers. So as a overall for a family movie, it's a little difficult.
Yeah.
There you go, difficult.
Yeah, I mean the worst part of it is that awful song. But in any case, Milton, what do you think of this
song again?
I'm gonna have to watch it again, and then I'll give my analysis.
Okay,
Well,
so he wants another shot at it. Now, here's my take on it. It had a lot of references to a lot of movies. It had a lot of references to things that innuendos, which is like sexual undertones that it shouldn't have had for a kids movie. Those things I didn't agree with. I think if they're going to have a movie about that, have a movie about that. I think they could have stuck a little more to a more kid-friendly thing without all those hidden messages and undertones. And I didn't like the fact that, let's be honest, Bowser is the representation of someone who's obsessed with somebody, who's a stalker.
And
Simp. Well, Simp is a stalker.
Oh,
the Simp is a stalker, and he's just that's not a good representation of a relationship at all. That's not how.
And not only that,
works.
but he's an interspecies simp. He's simping for another species that he shouldn't even be simping for.
Well, that's another one too. So I think that there are things that should not have been put in that movie for kids to kind of like, you're making kids think that some of those things are right.
Exactly.
I don't agree with the fact that he was so obsessed with Peach. That's not a good way to represent love for that anybody falls. Nobody falls in love like that. That's not how it works. And I thought it was a bad representation.
I see. So then, Sandra, what do you think of this movie?
I missed a lot.
I gotta see it again.
These two want to see it one more time.
Yeah, well, don't see it again. It's really bad. Now for my take on it. It fucking sucks.
Hey,
there are a lot. There are
no F-bombs.
The song sucks. The song sucks. Bowser's motivation sucks. The insane starlight creature sucks. And you guys think Mario has something for Peach.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
that was also another one of those things that was hidden in there too.
What makes you think that?
Because it was like, at certain times it almost like he seemed to be like mesmerized by her, just like Bowser.
Maybe because
although he wasn't going stalker like Bowser.
Well, I mean that's because Peach is full of mystery. We barely know anything about her.
Yeah, who knows? But anyways,
I mean, who wouldn't think that way?
So we good?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining us, guys.
All right, thank you. This is Richard. I'm out.
Yep.
Milton, I'm out.
Sandra and I'm out.
And this is Th0m4s575. And to those of you who haven't watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie, do not watch it. We all agree it's a bad movie, so do not watch it at all costs. All right, bye.